Welcome to the Hustle Wing podcast. Today we are joined by Tom Bartholomew, the founder and CEO of Bartholomew Media Group. We're going to chat to him today and get to know him, a little bit about his company, and just have a great couple of minutes. So thank you for your time, Tom. I know it's a busy now that we're approaching holiday season, so I appreciate you coming on and joining us. How are you feeling? How are you doing?
I'm doing great, and thanks for having me here today. I really was looking forward to coming on to your show.
Awesome, cool. So what do you guys do at Bartholomew Media Group?
Well, Bartholomew Media Group is a digital marketing company, full service, but what makes us a little bit different than other marketing agencies is that we work for a specific niche. We work with roofing contractors specifically. So we
Oh,
help them with their websites, their search engine optimization, pay-per-click Google ads, social
uh-huh.
media management, reputation management, CRM, automations. So we really just try to help them, be a full service. They only need to come to one, have one marketing service, and we try to be that for roofing companies.
Mhm. Okay, cool. So why roofing companies? It's so random. Or at
Yeah.
least to me, sorry.
No, that's okay. No, that's great. Well, I knew that I wanted to have a niche because there are a lot of marketing companies out there. So I went with a niche that was
Yeah.
close to my
Mhm.
heart, which is roofing, because for 20 years I was a licensed builder. Right here in Michigan is where I'm at in the US, in
Oh,
Michigan. And my dad was a
okay.
carpenter. So I started helping him when I was 14 years old. And when I was
Mm.
19, I went and got my builder's license. With his encouragement, he said, "Hey, you want to be
Yeah.
partners, but you need to get a builder's license." So it was a kind of an easy job to get. I got
Yeah.
my builder's license. I worked with him for 15 years. And then he finally decided that
Wow.
it was time for him to retire. I continued on for 5 more years, but I realized that it was really his
Yeah.
company. And I went into some other things. But one thing that I did
Yes.
while him and I were working together is I built our first company website in 1999. So that's when I got my start and realized my passion was really
Okay.
marketing by promoting our construction company.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So you've been in the space for a while. I mean,
Mhm.
technically you've been in it since you were 14. So
That's right.
I get that. That's cool. So then you like the marketing side more than the actual building side. Is that the case?
Yeah, that's correct. So that's what, after my dad retired, I kept going for another 5 years, like I
Mhm.
said. But that's when I realized right then
Yeah.
that it was his business, and I didn't really know what I wanted. I didn't realize that I wanted to go into marketing at that time. So I became a senior
Okay.
manager at a resort. I had 100 employees. I was
Okay.
stressed up to here.
Wow.
And I decided that it was time for me to do something different. And one thing that always came together, or something that I always ended up doing no matter where I was at or what company, is I always did marketing, website updates,
Yeah.
maintenance, working with the
Yeah.
social media side of it.
Yeah.
So that's when I realized that, hey,
Hmm.
I don't really want to be a senior manager. I want to do marketing. And then I realized
Makes
that
sense.
really
Yeah.
quickly after I
Makes
started that roofers or contractors, that was my niche. Those are my people. And, I understand their industry,
yeah.
and roofing, really, that's what I did the most of when I was in construction. So it just seemed to really fit.
Okay. Okay, cool. So do you mostly work with like companies or individuals? I know I don't really know a lot of roofing companies, but I do know like, roofing and people that do roofing. So, does Bartholomew Media Group work with both or
Well, I work with kind of medium sized roofing companies. And so what I do is
okay.
I like the companies to, when they come to me, to have some sort of presence. They've already tried marketing, they've maybe tried Google
Yeah.
ads, or they've maybe had somebody else in there,
Yeah.
and they're doing good. They're earning, their revenues $1 million or more a year. Those are kind of my type of customers.
Okay.
And so I really don't work with a lot of
Yeah.
individuals, mostly roofing companies,
Okay.
larger roofing companies with
Yeah.
salesmen and, things of that nature.
Yeah. Interesting. Interesting. Cool. So then, how long has your company been going for? When did you start, like, officially, Bartholomew Media Group?
Yeah, so that is almost a story in itself. I was working as a senior manager, like I mentioned, at a Four Seasons resort
Yeah.
on March
Yeah.
8th of 2020. I resigned. March 9th,
Oh,
I started my
okay.
company. This is 2020. And then we know what happened
Oh,
at the end
wow.
of March in 2020. They, here in the States, they kind of shut everything
Yep.
down because of the pandemic. So that's when I started, right at the
Yeah.
beginning of the pandemic. So it was definitely a little scary when that started happening. But, marketing,
Yep.
especially digital marketing, is online. So luckily we have things like this,
Yeah.
Zoom, Google Meet,
Yeah.
different types of ways that you can do video
Yeah.
conferencing and make it feel like you're in person.
Yeah. All right, so you got in just in time, which is good. Because a lot of people started during COVID because they had all the time in the world and then, struggled through it since it was such a weird time for companies and starting businesses. So I'm glad that you've made it this far. That's a great sign.
Yeah, I'm really excited actually coming up here
Okay.
soon on 4 years when it comes to March. So I'm pretty close to 4 year mark, and
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited about that. It's been going really well this year. 2023 was my best year yet, and I'm looking to really, amplify
Awesome.
that and
Congrats.
really explode in 2024.
Yeah. Cool. I'm excited to see what 2024 has in store for you. So what are some of the challenges that you guys are currently facing at Bartholomew Media Group? I know you are a bit young, so I'm sure you're still trying to find your feet a little bit.
Yeah, really what our main challenge for a while was just kind of making sure we're doing things the same, our standards of practice. So recently
Okay.
I've in early in 2023, that was
Yeah.
one of my goals, is to make sure I have good SOPs. So that way because for,
Yeah.
the first 2 years, 2.5 years, I did everything myself. Because that's what you do when you have a startup, right? You
Okay. Yeah.
learn and you grow and you
Yeah.
do the work yourself. But now I'm growing enough where
Yeah.
I can hire other people. And in order to do that, at first it didn't work out very well because I didn't have
Mm,
SOPs. Whereas now I have my standards of
yeah.
practices. I have it laid right out when, like, if I get a new customer, whoever I'm going to hire, it goes over and says, this is exactly what you have to do. So that was a
Hmm.
big challenge before this year, before the
Yeah.
2023 was a big challenge, just making sure that the work was being done to my standard. The website was being built to the standards that I've been
Yeah.
come to known as, a high quality service
Yeah.
provider. And I wanted to make sure that that went through no matter
Yeah.
who was working on it, whether it was you or me or Bob. It doesn't matter. You're still going to keep up that quality
Yeah.
work because now we have some. It took a while. That was a challenge, even just putting them together. But with some persistence and
Yeah.
determination, you can accomplish a lot of stuff.
That's true. That's true. I get that. I mean, I also have a startup background. Yeah, background in startups and stuff, and I understand that standards of practice is really hard. Like, because sometimes you'll just be like, okay, I'll do this for this customer because we're new, and then you'll do something different for somebody else, and then now it's hard to establish like this is what we do, and this is how I want it done, and then be able to communicate that to somebody else so that you can delegate. So I get the stress behind it, but congrats for getting that done, I guess.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that.
So
It was definitely a chore.
yeah. That's a great way of putting it, a chore. That's a nice word. So what sort of assistance would you need from, or were you looking for from our community of side hustlers?
Well, I think I kind of started this as a side hustle before I even started in 2020. I was doing it on the side for friends and family.
Yeah.
That's what really kind of pushed me over the edge. Is I was doing this not even because I was trying to start a
Uh,
business, but because I loved building websites and I loved helping people out. So people would find out I could
Yeah.
build websites. They would say,
Yeah.
"Hey Tom, why don't you can you build our website?" And I'd say, "Sure." And I'd charge them a small amount and do it for them while I was still working as a senior
Yeah.
manager. And that's when I said, I really love doing the marketing, but I don't love being a senior manager
Mm.
of a resort. So that's when I made the
Yeah.
change. And so I think that,
Mm.
side hustlers, people that just the word hustle usually have a lot of ambition, a lot of
Yeah.
determination, because that's what hustling is you got to have determination. And so I
Yeah.
guess I just love to connect with people,
Hmm.
especially if they work with roofing contractors. If you have a side hustle, you work
Okay.
with roofing contractors, I'd love to meet or be introduced to people that also work with roofing contractors.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Is it specifically roofing or any construction? Because I know
Now,
you did say roofing. I just want to be clear.
so when I first started back in 2020, it was anybody in the skilled trades, any kind of contractor. But within the
Okay.
last year, again in
Yeah.
2023, I got a lot of clarity in what I was doing. And that was one of the things, is to niche down
Yeah.
to one particular industry. Because now what happens is it made the standards of
Mm.
practices easier. The SOPs are easier because I have the same type of
Yeah.
customer. So where I'm doing the same thing, I'm building
Yeah.
the same type of site. I'm doing the same type of Google
Yeah.
ads. We're doing the same. There's differences between on
Yeah.
where their location is, but it's still very similar. A
Yeah.
roofing company that puts on shingles
Yeah.
is the same as a roofing company that puts on shingles. So
Hmm.
that makes it easy for
Yeah.
us to, why reinvent the wheel? We know what works. This style works. This
Yeah.
type of ad works. Let's use
Hmm.
that. So it makes it easy
Hmm.
to be able to do
Yeah.
it with just one niche. So yeah, roofing contractors in specific.
Yeah. Makes sense. Awesome, awesome. Okay. So trying to get into specifics. So are you looking for like marketers or software engineers or salespeople? Is there like a specific thing that you're looking for?
Well, not in specific. Again, people that work with roofing companies. I'd love to partner with them, especially. Yeah, and
Yeah.
if they do marketing, I do look for developers and stuff to help me. Like I said, I'm starting to hire more people, and I have a few graphic designers that I work with, and then I have a couple
Okay.
website developers that I work with. So I'm always looking to expand with other
Yeah.
marketers or service professionals, but especially people that work with
Yeah.
roofing companies, like whether they make apps for
Yeah.
roofing companies, or whatever, they're accountants for roofing companies, whatever it is. That's the type of people I really like to meet,
Yeah.
and get into a joint venture with somebody I can refer them. If my only customer
Yeah.
are roofing companies, then I need to be able to refer them to someone else
Yeah.
that works with roofing companies.
With roofing companies. Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, Tom. Thank you for sharing with us and getting into Bartholomew Media Group and your journey, how you got to 2023. And I really do wish you all the best in the future. It was amazing connecting with you.
Well, Izzy, thank you so much, and thank you to this community. And I'm excited to again for 2024, what it's going to bring for you and what it's going to bring for me and all of us together. And let's rising tide raises all ships, right?
I love that. Yes, exactly. All right. Thanks again. We'll connect again soon.
Sounds great. Take care.